here from just across the way from where I'm sitting. I know where you're at, so welcome. I do want to remind everybody that if you're not speaking, please put yourself on mute, because we will pick up background noise if you don't. Unlock when need to. But as a reminder to everybody, even with virtual Zoom meetings, workforce development boards are required to comply with public meeting laws. Therefore, we need to be able to hear you and your vote to be in compliance with the law. Also, a reminder that this is a live streaming on YouTube. So keep that in mind. So we'll go ahead and start with roll call. And when your name is called, please say here. All right, Lynette Bang. I hear no Lynette Bang. How about Kathy Barr? Yep, Kathy,
Here.
I know Kathy's here. Michael Bilkmeyer.
Here, Mike Berkmeyer, I'm here.
Or Berkmeyer, there she, yeah, of course you are. How did I screw up that name? I'm sorry.
No worries.
Whitney Brasington. No Whitney. Tara Brosa.
Here.
Sherry Carpenter. Saw you. Jim Coleman. Okay. Alicia Colbreth Setzer, I saw you are here.
I am present, yes.
Thank you. Oh, I'm next on the list. Jeff Dreyer, and I am here. Richard Gamble. Oh, Richard Gamble. Hayden Gibson. Oh, Hayden. Stephanie Greer, I believe I saw you on.
Here.
There you are. Thank you. Edward Henson, I saw you on.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Whitney Brasington was here as well. I'm not sure if
Whitney is here?
Yes, I don't think she got unmuted in time.
Okay, Whitney, thank you.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you.
Okay, good.
Thank you, Whitney.
Yeah, thank you. Or I was just, never mind, direct messaging you.
Kristen Neubauer.
Hey, I'm here.
Hi, Kristen. Jason Nunn.
Hello.
All right. We've got Lynette Orbovich. I think I saw you. There you are. You're muted, but that's okay. I see you're here.
Hi.
There you are. Here, good deal. Brian Peterson. Okay, Scott Reese.
Here.
Jennifer Schaefer.
Here.
Jeff Smith. Garrison Wagner. Amber Westall Briggs.
I'm here.
Was that you, Amber? Who just said here?
That was Amber.
Okay,
It was a little pixelated, but I heard her.
gotcha. Debbie Woodard?
I'm here.
Okay, let me go one more time for those that I do not have marked as here. One more check. Lynette Bang. No Lynette. Jim Coleman. No Jim. Richard Gamble. No Richard. Hayden Gibson.
Yes, I'm here.
Who was that, Rebecca?
Amber.
That was Amber.
Okay. Yeah, I've got you down, Amber. How about Brian Peterson?
He just sent me an email and said he wasn't going to make it.
Okay. Jeff Smith? Garrison Wagner? All right. Our attendance is complete. We will.
John Irwin's name was not called.
I'm sorry, who's?
John Irwin.
John Irwin. Anybody else?
Jerry Powers.
Well, Jerry, yes, sir. John Irwin. Rebecca, please add that.
I've got that, and I've got Mr. Powers.
Wonderful.
Jeff Smith has resigned and we are looking for a replacement.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, moving right along, we're going to looking for the approval for the January minutes. Rebecca sent this out. Everybody should have that in their packet, and hopefully you've gone over it. Are there any questions, additions, deletions to the January minutes? Okay. Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the January minutes.
This is Mike Burkmeyer. I make that motion.
All right, thank you, Michael. Do we have a second?
Jeff, I'll second that. It's Edward.
Thank you, Edward. Any other discussion on January minutes? All right. We will go through for the approval. This is the same way we did our attendance roll call. And that is not here. Kathy Barr, do you approve?
I approve.
Michael Burkmeyer made the motion. He approves. Whitney Brazington,
I approve.
Tara Brosa,
I approve.
Sherry Carpenter,
Approve.
Felicia Colbreth Setzer.
Yes, I approve.
I approve as well. Stephanie Greer,
I approve.
Edward Henson, you approved. You seconded. Kristen Neubauer,
I approve.
Jason Nunn,
I approve.
Lynette Orbovich,
I approve.
Scott Reese,
I approve.
Jennifer Schaefer,
I approve.
Amber Westall Briggs,
I approve.
Debbie Woodard,
I approve.
John Irwin.
Not present, no vote.
Okay. Jerry Powers, present, no vote.
I'll go the same way since I've not
Understood.
seen the minutes.
Understood. Motion's carried. Thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you for that. Okay. Moving forward, let me next on the agenda is our board presentations. But let me remind everybody that, our board, we cover, or we're a regional board that covers 7 counties, which is over 2,500 square miles, which is larger than each of the states of Rhode Island and Delaware. A few years ago, we began asking board members to present about their respective industries and businesses to give a more well-rounded picture of what work and business looks like in the High Country region. Today, one of our newest board members, Stephanie Greer, the Senior Director of Behavioral Health with the Appalachian Regional Healthcare System, will be presenting to us. So at this time, Stephanie, welcome, and I turn it over to you.
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you for this opportunity to present what's going on in healthcare in general, but specifically with behavioral healthcare in the High Country. At the end of this, I should have met 3 objectives. Objective 1 is for you to have an understanding that behavioral health and issues related to behavioral health affect everybody. 1 in 4 adults suffer from a diagnosable mental illness every year. That means on this call, probably about 10% of us are going to struggle in some way. And the second component is there are high quality behavioral health services available to you. Sometimes those are not known as well as other healthcare services because just the very nature of service provision that it is, it's not something people talk about a lot, but it can be. It's not anything people have to be ashamed about. And from a perspective of a workforce development board, the third objective that you need to hear is that we are building some robust professional and paraprofessional opportunities within our community. So I'm going to start sharing my screen and go, and it says host disabled participant sharing. Rebecca, can you give me the ability to share?
Yes, I can. Hang on one second. I was muted.
Okay. okay. That's fine. That's totally fine.
There we go.
Okay. It still won't let, oh, there we go. All right. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about behavioral health services, a little bit about healthcare services in the High Country in general, specifically in the Avery County area for Cannon Memorial Hospital. But for behavioral health, there are 4 basic components of the provision of behavioral health services. One is an employee assistance program. What you might not be aware of is that in addition to clinical services along the continuum, we provide the employee assistance service for the 1,400 employees and family members of Appalachian Regional Healthcare, but we also sell those services to employers in the community. We have about 20 community contracts at this point. It's usually a part of the employee wellness package or benefit package for agencies specifically to promote health and well-being in their employee population. We have an outpatient clinic that is physically housed in Linville, but now that we are doing a large percentage of telehealth services with behavioral health, those services are literally available for anybody in the state of North Carolina. So someone in Raleigh can access our outpatient services via telehealth and get the same access to psychiatry, therapy, testing, assessment that anyone actually in Linville can. We have an internal crisis team. That crisis team is a group of clinical team members that provide all assessment and disposition for anybody under the umbrella of Appalachian Regional Healthcare System that might be struggling with a mental health related issue. For example, if someone is in inpatient medical treatment and they are dealing with a chronic medical issue, develop depression, anxiety, it's our team that will actually go in and work with them while they're receiving care for their medical condition as well. And then what you're probably going to hear the most about today is our inpatient behavioral health services. 13 years ago, we opened a 10-bed inpatient unit associated with Cannon Memorial Hospital, and we are actively in construction to convert that to a freestanding psychiatric hospital that will have a total capacity of 27 beds. So our original inpatient program opened in 2008, 10 beds. This is super important to know in the High Country. Until Caldwell Memorial opened a service last year, we were the only inpatient behavioral health service in over 40 miles. So if someone in the High Country needed access to inpatient behavioral health service and they couldn't get it with us, there were no options. There were no options close to home that their families and friends and support systems could engage with them. We admit people struggling with a wide array of diagnostic issues, anxiety, depression, thought disorder. We don't take primary substance abuse, so we don't do things like detox. However, there's a whole lot of what came first, the chicken or the egg. You know, are they depressed and anxious because of life issues and self-medicating with alcohol or drugs, or are the alcohol and drugs making them depressed and anxious, kind of thing? The message that I want you to hear is we treat the whole person, but we treat the whole person in an acute environment, which means that our average length of stay is less than 7 days, and our 10-bed unit is full all of the time. So we have an average bed empty to bed fill time of less than 3 hours. So from the point a bed becomes vacant, we have filled it in less than 3 hours. We receive thousands of referrals to inpatient treatment a year, and we're able to admit about 500 in that 10-bed unit. So we stay full all the time. We, as soon as we discharge somebody, we admit the next person. That became the impetus for expansion because there's clearly a genuinely unmet need in this region for access to care. In our inpatient service, over half of the patients we treat are uninsured, so that is not a deterrent to accessing care. 80% come in involuntarily committed, That means that someone in their life recognized that they were in need of help when they might not have had that recognition yet. A key component to be aware of, though, is that even though 80% come in involuntarily, over half of those end up signing in voluntarily within a couple of days because they're so engaged in the treatment that they're receiving. We've served, I told you, thousands, and this is unique to behavioral health in that because most people come involuntarily, so somebody else recognized the need before they did, usually in the world of behavioral health, you have a very high rate of dissatisfaction. So dissatisfaction with treatment, frustration with family, friends. On our unit here in the High Country, we have an over 96% satisfaction rate for almost 14 years. So even though people are scared, didn't want to come to begin with, at the time they leave, they are highly satisfied with the care and would recommend us to anybody that they cared about needing that level of intervention. When we're able to treat people closer to home, it creates a stronger discharge planning process. It's just better overall. So when people have to go 60 miles away, their families can engage, their support systems can engage. So the expansion of these services actually means that those 1 in 4 adults that I just mentioned to you, and the 10% of this call, if you're in need of help, we're going to be able to do a better job connecting you both on the inpatient side, but also on the outpatient side with the services that are going to give you your quality of life back. We have an outpatient clinic. I mentioned our inpatient clinic is adult only, so that's 18 to 64. But on the outpatient side, we treat ages 5 and up. So we have 2 double-boarded psychiatrists that are double-boarded in both adult and child. We do assessment, therapy, testing. If people do need to be referred to a higher level of care, we do that as well. It is a highly professional environment and a highly professional model that kind of eliminates the stigma, if you will, where it's just like going to a normal doctor's office appointment. I mentioned our crisis services and what they do already. But here's the kicker, and here's what really connects to the Workforce Development Board and the work that you guys do on a regular basis. We recognized, obviously, that there was a very high need, a high demand for behavioral health services in this region, and it was a need that had been unmet for years. That combined with a recognition that our daily census on the medical side of things at Cannon Memorial had continued to drop dramatically. So in a 25-bed medical unit, the average daily census was like 4 for about 8 years. That is consistent with what we have seen across the country in healthcare. Small rural hospitals struggle to stay afloat because people tend to go to specialty or tertiary facilities. All that means is that if people are going to have a major knee replacement, they really like going to the place that's an orthopedic specialty center, where 30 years ago, the local community hospital was the place where it was the be all end all for all aspects of healthcare. So your regional healthcare system got super creative. And I'm proud to tell you that we are the first healthcare system in the country that has received approval to co-locate a critical access hospital, so that's our medical hospital service, on the same campus as a psychiatric hospital. So until our exception that we received from the Centers for Medicaid and Medicare Services, it had never been done, and there were all kinds of federal rules around rural hospitals like Cannon can't be over a certain size, and you can't have other services around them in a specific type of way. So what that did for us as a community is give us the ability to right size. So starting in 2017, the first thing we did was build a brand new medical wing on campus at Cannon Memorial Hospital. So we used the data from 8 years previously to say we need 8 medical beds, and we need to sustain all of our routine medical components of care: emergency department, outpatient services, laboratory, imaging, outpatient surgery. All of those things stayed the same, and we built a new medical wing for it. But then we took the vacated physical space where medical services had been housed, and we are now constructing a psychiatric hospital. In that psychiatric hospital, we're going to have 27 adult acute beds. The length of stay will be the same, average length of stay of less than 7 days. Truly top tier treatment methodology for those people struggling with mental health and mental health related issues. And we're going to be working in partnership with our next door neighbor, the medical hospital. From a workforce perspective, the biggest thing that people seem to want to hear about, the biggest thing that people seem to want to hear about is the number of jobs created. At a minimum, it's going to create over 50 more jobs, professional and paraprofessional, in this Avery County area. And I don't know, maybe some of you on the call know more than I do, but I've been told that it's like the first time in over 35 years that that number of employment opportunities has been developed at one time. Obviously, some of the professional realm will be physicians, psychologists, therapists, nurses, but there will also be a pretty significant component of paraprofessionals. So CNAs, psychiatric techs, environmental services, nutritional services, plant operations, hospital police. And we have actively engaged with community colleges, universities, Lees McRae College, to work to develop student-led resources to build these clinical specialties for us. We are slated to open, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen, I think, except I don't know how, so I'll just keep talking. Wait, I got it. So we're slated to open October 2021. Construction will end of April. And the only reason we're delaying that opening, and that's what we've been scheduled to do all along, is we're going to take that period of time between April and October. The sole focus will be on recruitment and training, combined with a whole lot of community education. So I'm going to go ahead and extend an invitation, because surely we will be through some of these COVID challenges by June, July of this year. And I would like to invite this workforce board to come see the facility and see what we're doing and understand the patient experience. Felicia and I have already actually worked together on some workforce development stuff that we did in partnership with Caldwell Hospital when they were getting ready to open their facility. And that work and that perspective and those efforts were absolutely invaluable as we started talking about how do we create this workforce. These are not, there have never been inpatient behavioral health services of this size. So we have to acknowledge that every single person we hire is going to be green as green can be. And we've got to start from square one and teach them everything. So Felicia and a larger team of people actually worked together to identify ways that we could partner with universities and community colleges. And that has been well underway. But Felicia, I need to say that Caldwell's taken all of it. We did all that work. They opened sooner and they've taken all of it. So we got to get some of that back. But the message that I told you that you would hear at the beginning of this is behavioral health affects everybody. It does. Obviously, I'm not going to ask, but I know that in this meeting today, many of you and your family members, you've had struggles that you needed help with, and that's what we're here for. That's what we do. I want you to know that there are high quality services available even now in current state. There's just less of them. But beginning in October, that's going to triple in size. And we are building a really robust employment infrastructure for people. So these are significant opportunities across the continuum of employment opportunities for people. that can only benefit our community. And so the opportunity to share this with you guys, answer questions, talk about what that looks like, I'm grateful for it. And I'm going to thank you in advance for any additional work. Yeah, Felicia's grinning for any additional work that we pull together in the next few months. But that's an overview. They told me I had 10 minutes. I think I took 7. That leaves some time for questions from you guys, or thoughts or opportunities or suggestions.
All right, thank you, Stephanie. Does anybody have any questions for Stephanie?
Stephanie, I would just like to say that is great news. It's always good when we hear the expansion and that the critical need is being met in these trying times of behavioral health. And want you to know that the High Country Workforce Development Board, we look forward to coming to your opening event, as well as pledging our resources through our NC Works people, Felicia, her team, my contracted staff, and Malin. We are all here in this to help you guys become a success in any way that we can. So yeah, we want to do a collaboration meeting and sort of see what we can do to help you. Hopefully we can put some qualified, skilled people in touch with you and help and develop that workforce that you need. But I'm excited about that and the expansion, and we all look forward to working with you to help meet your needs and success.
Thank you, Keith. I very much appreciate that.
We have a raised hand from Jason Nunn.
Yes, thank you. I work in Wilkes as a probation officer, and I've just started working with a mental health caseload.
Mhm.
If I encounter someone in crisis, is it okay if I bring them to Appalachian Regional, or do I need to go to Caldwell for Jonas Hill?
Well, whichever one is most convenient for you, Jason. So it kind of depends on the situation for that consumer. I would say, obviously, like right now we're 10 beds and we're full all the time. So if it happens tomorrow, right, you're probably going to get quicker access at Jonas Hill. If it happens in October, when we're a fully functional psych hospital, I would say bring them to us. We helped Jonas Hill develop their program. It's a good program. I think what will happen, and this is exactly what should happen, people should have a choice, right? Whether that's the people working with the consumer or the consumer themselves. And for one reason or another, people might prefer one location over another. Sometimes the geography in Linville will be appealing because it is isolated and people can access care in a very private way. But maybe their grandma lives in Crossnor and they don't want to come here. So I recognize that's a roundabout way, but the answer is twofold. So if it's today, I would say, based on what I'm hearing from the leadership at Caldwell, they're probably going to have more access to beds today because we're full all the time. But that being said, if you have a need, you can call me, you can email me. If you need help with navigating something, I do that all the time. So even if it's not to us, you can reach out. I think you've got my email address from this group, but if not, I'll send it to you in the chat, and you can reach out anytime and I'll help you navigate the process.
Good deal. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
I'd like to ask a question. One, congratulations, because it obviously a great need going to be met. I'm curious though about the cutoff of 64 for inpatient. Is that like a Medicare thing, or is it?
It is, yeah. So this is not a popular sentiment, but over the age of 64, so 65 and above, is considered geriatric psychiatry. Not a personal belief of mine, but you have 3 components, or 4 really: child services, adolescent services, adults, or geropsych, right? So in order to be considered an adult service unit, it's the ages of 18 to 64. Some people do a combination of geriatric psychiatry, but the truth is that's kind of a different level of need. So you generally don't want to have an 18-year-old in psychotherapy with a 70-year-old because the frame of references are just a little different there. So that's where it comes from, Lynette.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Usually I say that and people get mad at me. And so I always say, I didn't decide that. that is not me.
Okay, so I'm geriatric. What can I say?
Stephanie,
Oh, that's-
I don't have a question, but congratulations. And of course, we're going to work with you to do whatever we need to. And on a side note, I'm still trying to get that person back this way.
Thank you, Felicia. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Wonderful job, Stephanie. Great. It was an eye-opening.
Thank you, Jeff.
I mean, it's sad in a way that demand is out there. It's great that you're meeting that demand or doing everything you can to meet that demand. And I think every one of us kind of have to be missionaries to this and let folks know that this is out there and it's okay to seek help. And I was thinking as you were talking, I hope we're not going to call it the psychiatric hospital, because that automatically adds an apprehension out there and a stigmatism that people will shy from. But that's for somebody else to figure out. But the awareness. Yeah. The awareness out there is so key, and we've got to fan those flames for the awareness.
And Jeff, the name is actually going to be Appalachian Regional Behavioral Health. I had no intention professionally of going into behavioral health when I started my career, but I do think it's a calling and it's a mission. And the thing that I learned on day 2 was that this is you and I. The people that are accessing treatment, it's you and I, sometimes with different life circumstances. And maybe that's situational in the moment. Maybe it's things that they dealt with, growing up and had poor coping skills. But if I could share anything else, I want people to understand that these are our friends and our teachers and our preachers and our deacons and our lawyers and the people that are struggling. Everybody's struggling, everybody's struggling. And when I actually started my career at Broughton Hospital, I thought it was going to be One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And my parents told me that I was crazy, but that was my takeaway. Like day 2, it's me and you. And so by opening this facility and creating access to it for people like you guys who are leaders in the community and can see what it's like, it's not One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I cannot wait to show you this treatment facility and what the experience for patients and families and friends are going to be. Because just like you said, we are all influencers in our respective agencies and in our communities. And if the stigma is ever erased, it starts with us.
Very nice. Well put. Well said. All right. Does anybody else have anything for Stephanie? Awesome job, Stephanie. We'll segue right into our next, which is Wilkes Recovery Revolution. It sounds like we've got a theme going here a little bit. Wilkes Recovery Revolution is a nonprofit recovery community organization that values the perspectives of those with lived experiences and sharing the potential of recovery from addiction. Devin Lyle, Executive Director, and Ariana Williamson, Project Coordinator, are here to talk about Project HOW, Healing Our Workforce, and recovery-friendly workplace programs. So, Devin, Ariana, I'll let you have it.
Thank you so much, Jeff, and you did a great job with introduction, so I don't have a whole lot to say, but I am Devin. I'm the founding executive director of Wilkes Recovery Revolution, and we offer Project HOW, which is healing our workforce, and that's what Ariana is going to touch on a little bit today, but we also have transitional housing programs, we have a recovery center, we have harm reduction services, and a lot of other wraparound services. So those are things you can check out later, but I'm going to turn it over to Ariana to share about Project HOW that was funded through Golden Leaf and Appalachian Regional Commission to look at workforce development, barriers to employment, and how to create recovery-friendly workplaces. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ariana Williamson, and Rebecca, it looks like I'm going to need you to re-allow me to share my screen as well.
All right, let me make you the co-host.
Great. And while we're doing that, I am going to go into some of the other programming with Wilkes Recovery Revolution before getting into Project How and our workforce, or our recovery-friendly workplace initiative. Stephanie, this was actually an excellent segue into what we do, because we are post-clinical, post-treatment, post-detox services. Wilkes Recovery Revolution started in 2016 with our phases transitional housing. Here we go. Here's my presentation. There we go. And phases is a transitional group housing, again, post-treatment. So this is where people are coming to transition away from their substance use disorder and back into the community. There's peer support on staff, transportation services, and work study programming while they're in phases transitional housing. We also operate on a wait list. There is never an empty bed with phases, so it's another much needed service in our community. That led us to open, which I think this was right before I came on with Wilkes Recovery Revolution, the R3 Recovery Center in November of 2020. This is during a global pandemic. We opened a walk-in center, face-to-face community center for individuals in recovery. Of course, we practice social distancing, masking, temperature checks, things like that, but no referral necessary. Walk in and meet with a North Carolina certified peer support specialist. We are also about to launch our warm line, so we'll have peer support specialists available 24/7, 365. There's a safe space family room, meeting centers, a computer lab, and it's just generally a nice place to come and spend time and meet with other people in the recovery population and with people who are here to help. Quickly, I wanted to touch on our thrift store, which is always accepting donations in North Wilkesboro. Beyond supporting our efforts with our nonprofit through a funnel of funds, we also are able to offer work study opportunities through Revolution Thrift Store. It is run by peer support specialists and recovery allies. So we also offer crisis assistance. We can provide vouchers for clothing, for interview prep, for families who are in need. And if you're moving out of our transitional housing and need, clothing and support to get back to your everyday life, it's a great thrift store, and I encourage you to check it out. That leads us into Project How, our grant-funded project committed to workforce development and breaking down barriers to employment for people in recovery from substance use disorder, from the disease of addiction, and from mental health concerns. That is a big component of what we do, because like Stephanie touched on, they often are co-occurring. So this project offers free certification courses through Wilkes Community College. We offer more work-based and internship opportunities. We offer soft skills and work readiness trainings. We offer a free or low-cost dental care assistance program. We've partnered with Wilkes Public Health Dental Clinic, and we are able to meet some of the needs of people who have oral health as a barrier to employment after suffering substance use disorder and the disease of addiction. So the next component, our recovery-friendly workplace initiative, again, breaking down those barriers. A lot of times people in recovery are stuck with the stigma of substance use disorder. We're here, this initiative is here to allow employers to know that those stigmas are not in place with people in recovery. People in recovery are comfortable asking for help when they need it. They are making decisions with their life that move them closer toward that ultimate goal of wellness. People in recovery miss less work on average than people with undiagnosed substance use disorder. There's economic benefits to hiring people in the recovery population, along with social benefits. Like I said, people are healthier and happier when they're in recovery than when they are suffering from substance use disorder. This toolkit is put together as a way to introduce employers to what we're doing, as well as to build additional components. So this program will allow you to customize your recovery-friendly workplace status, from having a sticker in your window on your job listings and just letting people know you're willing to work with customers and employees in recovery, all the way to, we need to look at our policies and our language and make sure that it's recovery friendly as well. We have a strong steering committee that supports us. It's over 52 contacts who have seen this recovery friendly workplace initiative and are helping us to form it. And we also are governed by a board of directors who are 50% or more identifying as having lived experience. So if you want to engage with this recovery friendly workplace, and this is something that's already in place in a lot of different states and cities, you might hear recovery friendly workplace and you might hear recovery to work. Those are two different names for a similar project. Drug-free workplace is similar, but not the same. We do encourage drug-free workplaces in our initiative, but there are more components to this recovery-friendly workplace. So initially, you will write us a letter of intent that you'd like to join this initiative. We would have an orientation that's either one-on-one, or it would be a group orientation, and we hope to host at least one, if not two, annually recovery friendly orientations, and then implementation. And this checklist, so all of this is in its initial phases. So they are subject to change, but the components that we would like to see as required components of joining this initiative would be your letter of intent and an orientation, ensuring that all senior staff and HR management are on board and understanding they might need trainings. There's a recovery coach training that can be useful. Again, this is customizable to the size of your organization and its needs. And then we'd like for you to let your staff know. We'd like for them to be aware that you are understanding of the recovery lifestyle, that you value the recovery lifestyle, and that you're able to provide resources if there is a need. So some of the other components, again, this is a long checklist and it looks intimidating, but it's customizable, and the requirements are simple, like operate a drug-free workplace and check in with your drug and alcohol policies annually. Review them with your employees, educate your employees on the values of recovery versus living with a substance use disorder, or the disease of addiction, or with mental illness. And then access avenues for help. So Stephanie might be a good person to reach out to in this regard. We will provide resources for Daymark, for other agencies in the area that can help if you have an employee who seems to be showing signs of substance use disorder, who you value as a staff member and who you want to keep on. So some frequently asked questions will also be included in this initiative toolkit. People often ask if there's a cure for substance use disorder. The answer is no. Recovery is possible, but substance use disorder is a condition that you'll live with, and that it takes behavioral therapies and effort to maintain, or to leave and maintain the lifestyle of recovery. We'll also have a glossary of terms. So things like leave, short-term leave, return to use, which is the preferred term over relapse. The quick reference, like I said, will have avenues for care. If you see an employee is struggling, or a family member of an employee is struggling with obvious signs of substance use disorder, you can contact us, and we can come as a recovery-friendly advocate to your business or agency and help you find care for that employee or their family member. One of the components that's not listed on this table of contents that we're really excited about are resources for the reentry population. So, what are the incentives to businesses for bringing on people who have criminal backgrounds or are justice involved? Some of our steering committee members are from Wilkes Probation. One of our board members is from Wilkes Probation. We're working with people from all sectors of industry in our community to help build this workplace initiative, and we've already gotten support from the offices of our local town managers. We hope to grow this and get this to be a statewide initiative to partner with some of the other recovery to work and recovery friendly workplace programs that are in existence, and and hope to grow this into something that's statewide. So that's my presentation. One thing that I did skip over is going into the recovery community organization and what that means. It is an accredited status. We're accredited through Faces and Voices of Recovery. And basically an RCO, or a recovery community organization, is a grassroots effort in advocacy and community building for the recovery population. We'd love to have anybody that you need, that you think could benefit from our services. Again, just walk through our door, give our phone number a call. And again, if you're interested in becoming a recovery friendly workplace, or if you feel that you'd be able to serve us in helping to create this toolkit, I'd love to hear from you, and I'll put my email in the chat. And again, I'll stop sharing my screen and allow for questions or comments.
Okay, thank you, Ariana. Any questions for Ariana?
There was a question in the chat about whether or not the slides could be shared.
Yeah, I can share them. And I think I touched on it, but these are a work in progress. They are subject to change. And, we're in the time frame of getting things together, collecting resources, doing our research. We're collaborating with the North Carolina Department of Commerce and Department of Justice to get some of those other components, like incentives for hiring out of the reentry population, things of that nature. So it will always grow, and I will share them with you, but just know, don't quote me on these images.
Hey, I also wanted to mention that NC Works and myself, we've had numerous conversations with this program on how to do referrals and partnerships and workshops and various things. So we really enjoy this partnership and look forward to seeing how it progresses.
And we so appreciate our partnership with NC Works. They offer some work readiness trainings that our population takes advantage of, resume workshops. And then, rather than reinventing the wheel with some of our employment and workforce development efforts, we've been able to partner with them and with Goodwill and some other local agencies. And it's really helped us to grow and to and expand our reach for these programs with Project How.
Are you confined right now just to Wilkes County?
That's a really good question. And we so far have been answering yes. We really want to see this initiative taken in Wilkes County, adopted in Wilkes County with the local businesses. Number one, because we're a top tier county in distress in North Carolina. So we want to make sure that we're serving employers in this area with this initiative. But like I said, we want this to go statewide. So once we see how it rolls out and kind of experiment on our friends here in Wilkes County, we'd love to see it develop to the 7-county region and beyond.
Great, thank you. Anyone else?
To the presenters, if you guys could send your slideshows and your information to Rebecca, we'll get that distributed out to all of our board members.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Thank you, Devin. Thank you, Ariana. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful stuff happening. So moving right along. Next up is Pam Wilson, the North Carolina Work Center Manager and Center Operator for Avery, Mitchell, and Yancey County. She's here today to share information and the work being done in the centers regarding the board's primary Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, WIOA as we know it, WIOA funding, assistance for adults, dislocated workers, and youth and young adults. So Pam, take it away.
Good afternoon, everyone. What two great, wonderful resources, we've already heard about. So, and to Stephanie, we're so excited for you to bring that to Avery County and all those jobs. And we look forward to working with you any way possible to help you fill those. So we'll be in touch. Rebecca, if you wouldn't mind to give me permission to share my screen.
All right, you should be good to go.
Let's see. Can everyone see that? Is that working correctly?
Nope, we don't see you yet.
I don't see it. Let me try something different. How about now?
There we go.
Okay. Keith asked me if I would speak today about our Title I WIOA programs that are located in our centers. We talk a lot about the basic services, but we've not talked a whole lot about our intensive next level services for folks that need that little bit of extra help. So that's what I'm going to be sharing with you today. Before I go on to the next screen, I will say to you the picture here is one of our participants. Her name is Faith, and Faith came to us wanting to be a nurse. She really had that desire, and she had what I will probably mispronounce is Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which affects like the ligaments and stuff that hold your muscles together, if I understand that correctly. So most all of her life, she had struggled financially and with her health. But she was determined she wanted a job that she could do better and have some health benefits and all that. So we began to work with her, and actually she'd struggled to get into the nursing program, and her case manager was able to work with instructors there and get her in. And I'm happy to say that Faith finished in May, and she is now working at Johnson City Medical Center making $22 an hour. So, and her glove there that she's holding up, it actually says finally done, because it took her a good while, but she did succeed. So we're proud of Faith. Okay, what are Title I WIOA programs? They are an intensive level of services for individuals that are unable to gain employment through our basic career services. They just need a little extra help of some type. And it's a more comprehensive set of services to make sure that they reach their goals and gain employment. And we've got 3 mainstream funds that we use for that: adult, youth, and dislocated worker. And I did want to just briefly mention that not only do we administer those 3 core grants, but, and I'll date myself here, about the past 20 years, the region's also been handling some type of specialty grant. And they are a wide range of everything from the picture you see here was actually back to 2004, and it was a National Emergency Flood Grant. So we had lots of people out working to do flood cleanup and working on the parkway. So that was very interesting and different from what we normally do. We've had the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, which helped to train large numbers of folks, primarily those that were on the welfare system, to help try to move them. We've had summer employment programs for youth, where we've had large groups of youth out working on different work sites through our communities. And currently we have the National Emergency Dislocated Worker COVID grant for those affected directly by COVID-19. We also have the Finish Line grant, which is for those students that are in training and they are 50% complete and being successful, and they have an emergency need of some type. They can get assistance with that. And then we also have the Incumbent Worker Grant that is for employers to help train their workforce. So just wanted to share a little bit about those specialty grants. We never know what's coming. So what services do we offer through Title I? Well, the first thing we typically do with folks is administer career and basic skills assessments. A lot of people don't really know what they want to do or what direction they should take. From there, they have a career advisor that helps them to develop their very own individual employment plan. They actually write down step by step, I'm going to do this, and that's going to help me reach this. They have intense discussions about what barriers are in your life, what's going to hold you back. And let's get those addressed now, so when they come up, they're not going to be an issue. We've already got a plan for it. Then we have scholarships that we help to pay for their short-term or long-term training, typically up to 2-year trainings. We have paid internships where we are placing folks out on the job and we are paying that. And there's usually a couple different ways that we do that. One is if they've not had any work experience at all, that gives them some basic work skills and those soft skills that they need. Then some folks, that's not really what they need. They need to do a little bit of career exploration. So we'll place them somewhere that they are interested in doing a little research to see if that's really what they want to do. Then we have our on-the-job training programs that we offer to employers to take our participants when those participants may not have all the skills that you need for that job. These funds will help reimburse your cost of training them and being willing to give them a shot for that job. So we also do emergency support services, which is if someone's car tears up, and it's going to keep them from getting to training or getting to work. Their electric's going to be cut off and they're going to have to quit work or training to do something about their electric bill. We'll step in and help to pay that kind of stuff. And then where they're in a place that they've got the skills that they need to have, we work with them on job placement. We'll contact employers on their behalf. And once they're working, we're going to follow up with them, typically for a year. So if they have any issues come up, we're there to intervene and make sure that they continue to excel in their employment. Well, how does someone qualify then for these services? For the adult program, you have to be 18 years age or older. You have to be a citizen or a non-citizen that's authorized to work in the U.S. And you have to meet the military selective service requirements. You have to have registered, in other words. And in the high country, we have a priority of service that we meet in order to determine, like if we have limited funds, who would get those. And priority 1 is for veterans and their eligible spouses, especially if they're low income, recipients of public assistance, or basic skills deficient. Then our second priority are individuals that are low income, have public assistance, and are basic skills deficient. Then number 3 is back to veterans, eligible spouses. They're not low income, they're not recipients of public assistance or basic skills deficient, but they're veterans and spouses. We make them a priority. And then priority 4 is for individuals who may not necessarily be what's termed low income, but they are not earning at 200% of the federal poverty level. And if you're not at 200% of the federal poverty level, you're not able to pay your bills. So that's one reason they're a priority for us. Then moving on to our dislocated worker programs. They are the same as adult in that you need to be a U.S. citizen. And if you are a male, you have to register for selective service. But just like it says, to be a dislocated worker, you need to be terminated or laid off or have already received that notice that you're going to be laid off. They might be at a facility where the employer's just made a general announcement that they're going to be closing, we can go ahead and jump in and help those folks. We can also help self-employed people that they have been affected by the general economy, the conditions, or some type of natural disaster. Then we have displaced homemakers that come under that category also. Those are people that have been staying home, taking care of their family, and now something has happened to that family member that has been bringing in the wages, and they need training and need to get to work. So, and we also have spouses and members of the armed forces that have lost employment because they've been relocated or they're experiencing difficulty obtaining employment. So, and then we have those specialty dislocated worker grants, and we have to, for those, we have to go by whatever criteria is set forth. Then we have our out of school youth program. There's also funds that can be used for in-school youth, but our region primarily targets out of school youth just because of a requirement that the majority of our funds have to be spent on out of school youth. So that's what I'm going to tell you about today. For in-school youth, the eligibility requirements are a little bit different, but they're pretty similar too. So to qualify for the youth program, you must be 16 to 24 years old, not attending school, and you have to have one of these barriers that are listed. School dropout, you know, that's one of our places that we get a lot of our clients, is that they are dropouts, and they don't have to be income eligible or anything. They're school dropout, they're eligible for this. If they're within the age of compulsory school attendance, but they've not attended like they should be in that school's calendar quarter, then they would be eligible. If they are a recipient of a secondary school diploma, but are basic skills deficient or an English language learner, they're also eligible. If they're subject to the juvenile or adult justice system, we also work with our court systems in our counties and get a few of our clients through that. If they're homeless, runaway, in foster care, if they've aged out of foster care, or eligible for assistance under the Social Security Act, they're eligible. If they're pregnant or parenting, that's another one of the areas where we get some of our youth, because up to age 24, we've got a lot of those that are parenting by that age. Individuals with disabilities, they qualify. And then we have our last category, which is low income individuals who require additional assistance to enter or complete an educational program. And there's some specific parameters around that more so than just that statement, but okay. I'll move on. I did just want to quickly share this other piece. You know, not only is serving our clients important, but doing some things out in the community to support our businesses, to help list jobs, to have job fairs, recruitment events. We also try to always stay up on what all services are available, you know, not just ours, so that when our businesses have a need, we can help fulfill that. Or if we can't, we'll go help find it. So engaging in our K through 12 schools. We do a lot of working with our schools, which do not result at all in enrollment numbers, but we just feel like that is extremely important. And one of the pictures here is Advanced Manufacturing Day, the last one that we had before the pandemic started. And then the picture on the end is a career and job fair that we helped with. So it's really important to us that we collaborate with all our community partners, and we know all the resources that are available so we can help the folks that we see. All right, I'm going to share just a few success stories with you. pictured here is Alexis. And Alexis came to us pretty quick out of high school. She had absolutely no idea what she wanted to do. She had went all over the board from I want to be in early child care to, business. And we had our local employer, Country Cablevision, had a job opening, and they were willing to take Alexis on as an intern. So we paid for her to stay there for a good while. And while she was there, they even had her programming their top boxes and a lot of the electrical stuff that they used. And so she got to do a lot of programming, which was a pretty neat thing and a neat skill for her to learn. But in the end, she did so well that they decided they wanted to keep her. So they hired her on permanently. So we were very happy about that. Then here we've got Isaac. Isaac was a school dropout. When he came to us, we helped him to earn his GED, and he pretty well knew he wanted to do something in criminal justice. And so we were able to arrange with the sheriff's department to take him on, and he even got to do some dispatching while he was there. So pretty neat opportunity. It was a little unusual for us. At the end, they also hired Isaac, and he continues to be at the sheriff's department working, and going to school. Then we have Sarah, and this was just another neat place to have someone. Sarah was working on her GED at the time. She also had absolutely no idea what she wanted to do, but she was good with her hands. So her case manager arranged with one of our school bus garages to bring Sarah in and to let her work on buses and other mechanical stuff they had there. She did a great job, and she decided that mechanics is where she wants to be. So Sarah did well. And I just have one more slide, but before I get to that, I just want to say that these programs, and you can have all the money in the world, which we do not, but if you don't have caring staff to administer those programs and to be willing to work with these folks, then it doesn't matter how much money you've got. And here in this region, we're so blessed that from the top down, you've got caring people from the high country right on down through your contractors. These are the type of jobs that keep you awake at night. You're worrying about these folks, and are they going to be able to keep their houses? Are they going to have food for their children? And luckily, we have staff that are willing to get out there and help. And that being said, my last slide is we need you. You all are very important. I have sat on boards before and thought, what am I doing here? They just need a seat filled. I'm not really doing anything. But that's not the case with this board. You are the ones that are making the decisions that affects the lives of all these folks and these ones that you've seen today. So I just wanted to say to you, don't ever feel like you're just another board member, because you're vital. So thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
Very well said, Pam. That is so true. And your presentation was wonderful. And that's what we're about at this board. And in any way that we can help our fellow human being, our youth especially, any investment in our youth pays dividends beyond compare. Any help we can help the dislocated worker, the disadvantaged worker, anybody. That's what we're here for. That's our calling. That's what we need to do. So I appreciate that, Pam. Wonderful presentation. Anybody else? Questions for Pam?
I'll just throw out there, a big part of our services do rely on employers in the region, hosting our participants with work sites and learning opportunities. And we know that's not easy. We know there's risk involved in that. And so we do appreciate all those work sites that are willing to partner and open their doors, because we know, it's not the easiest thing to do. And there's some paperwork with it and some responsibility that goes with it, but the reward at the end is worth it.
Thanks, Misty. All right. Thanks to all our presenters today. I appreciate each and every one of you and everything that you brought to the table. It opens every one of our eyes, and we realize what gifts and what opportunities that we have here in this high country region of ours, and it's something to be proud of. And I hope each one of you are proud of what we do as a board, what we do as providers, and keep up the good work, everybody. Moving right along to Keith, our director's report. Keith.
Thank you, everyone. It's always a pleasure to come before the High Country Workforce Development Board, and I'm just beaming with glee and pleasure because we are the best workforce development board in the state. Because of you guys, my wonderful executive staff, and as you can see, our contractors, Malin Community College and Goodwill, they care. And it takes a village to raise a child, but I've always said, I sort of change that and say, it takes a whole village of workforce professionals to really make this a success and thriving region, to meet the needs of job seekers and also to meet the needs of business and industry. So without these great people from, you great board members, my great executive staff, Misty, Rebecca, Caroline, and then our wonderful contractors, Pam and her staff, NC Work staff, and Malin Community College and Goodwill, and NC Works and the other ones, we could not do it without it. So I am extremely happy and proud to say that I am associated with the High Country Workforce Development Board and our partner agency. My director's report is going to be brief. Usually I give you the unemployment rates, but I want to talk about something else. So Rebecca's included in your packet the labor market overview that will have the unemployment rate. So I usually like to tell those to you, but today I'm going to divert to something else I want to share with you. North Carolina Commerce Secretary Michelle Sanders has appointed Chet Modesheed as the acting Assistant Secretary for the Division of Workforce Solutions. Chet Modesheed was the Director of Job Seeker Services and Field Operations before he was appointed to the acting Assistant Secretary position. Also, some upcoming events to watch for in our workforce development area. As you very well know, the United States Senate and the United States House of Representatives passed the COVID relief package. We're waiting to see what that is going to transpire or get to us, if we are going to get any additional fundings on top of our allocation funding. So we're waiting to see if we are going to get some more funds so that we can do the great work and impact the lives and meet the needs of the job seekers and business and industry in our region. So I will keep you abreast of that. We're hoping that we're going to get some additional funds to do great things with from that COVID relief package that was passed. Also, the High Country Workforce Development staff will be working on the annual plan update, and it is also time we're going to be working on reappointment of High Country Workforce Development Board members. And it is also time we are in the process of wrapping up our programmatic monitoring that has taken a lot of Misty's time and a lot of sleepless nights, but we're pledging right along and we are expecting some good stuff. So we will share that with you guys once those are complete.
I just want to mention that is PY19 monitoring. The state is behind because of COVID, and then PY20 will start immediately following.
Right. But they said they're not going to come in 2 weeks and tell us that we have programmatic monitoring for our upcoming, but we will be getting ready to start our financial monitoring for this go round. So staff is going to be busy, all of us, and we'll be working to complete those projects that are up and coming. Wow, what a year. Yesterday marks a year of COVID, and it has been a roller coaster ride. I was at Wilkes Leadership, and Charity was there with me. We're going through that. But, you know, it's been some doom and gloom, but we learned yesterday one of the larger employers in Wilkes that had to cut their staff from 400 employees down to about 104, and they said it's really less than that. And the company that I'm talking about is LP. They did the siding and all that. So they went through a great restructuring and a reduction in force, but got some good news yesterday. They were saying, well, they're not going to be back to, you know, bringing in, you know, the 300 odd jobs that they did the reduction in. But there is expansion. I'm hearing from certain companies that they are expanding. Just to use LP for an example, they were saying that in the next 90 days that they are going to have needs for hiring, and we're going to be working with them to try and identify that qualified, skilled workforce and get them some possible leads for hiring. But they also said that after that 90 days that they are, you know, they're telling them up front, this could be temporary, but that they have vacancies that need to be filled so that these temporary jobs could turn into full-time employment. Also from their corporate headquarters, they're saying that there are some new products that are going to be coming out that could potentially have them to expand and bring more jobs back to the Wilkes plant. We learned that the Wilkes plant there in Roaring River is the largest plant that does that type of siding between Green Bay and what was the other one, Charity? The other place?
I don't remember. I just remember Green Bay.
Okay.
Was it St. Louis?
Yes, outside of St. Louis. So there's the opportunity that we are that we will see more uptick in business and expansion as people's comfort level gets better and as the vaccines take hold. So it was encouraging. A company that had to really do a massive downsizing is now talking about bringing in skilled, high-paying jobs to rural areas. So as I've always said, you know, the companies that are in our rural areas, whether they're small to large, you make a difference because you drive the economy. And we are so thankful for our large employers, our medium employers, and our small, what we call mom and pop employers, because that provides the workforce system and the economy that is going to help sustain our rural counties. So, you know, a lot of your businesses could have picked up and moved and gone places and all that, but I am grateful that for the businesses that we continue to have that here that want to expand and that stay here to help out our economy and our region. So that concludes my report. As always, I like for my NC Work Centers to make me look good. So at this point in time, Charity, would you tell us what's going on in your region?
Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to see all of you and great to see the sun out. Hope that you are enjoying it as much as we are. I'm pleased to give an update on NC Works. As you know, we're still providing services by appointment. We're open to the public by appointment, and we're also taking walk-ins, and we're also providing all of our services virtually still. We have filled the available positions in Avery and Wilkes counties, and we are in the process of filling the position that is open in Watauga. And once this position is filled, we will be fully staffed in all of the NC Works Career Centers. So that is a great thing. Just a few upcoming events on March the 18th, NC Works Career Center, Watauga, Goodwill, Watauga Library, and Grow with Google will be hosting a workshop titled Resume Creation and Job Interviewing in a Virtual World, Tips and Tricks. That will be held at 4 p.m. So a lot of your counties, if you're going to be getting calls anywhere between the 7 counties in the high country, we did a blast out to all of the newly registered and registered NC Works individuals all the way back to August. So if you're getting calls about that, just direct them to the nearest NC Works Career Center and we'll take care of that. Also on March the 23rd, NC Works Career Center here in Wilkes will be starting an 8-week Working Smart Soft Skills series virtually. Working Smart is a 24-hour, it's 24 hours of skill building based on skills needed by employers. This series will be held on Tuesdays and Thursdays for 8 weeks, again, starting on March the 23rd. So again, we sound a blast to our partners as well as those individuals registered in NC Works all the way back to August, just to see if we can get, you know, some people some soft skill training, because sometimes when we're out of work for COVID or for however long we've been out, we can lose some of those soft skills. So that's pretty much what we have right there. That's it. That's what's going on.
Thank you, Charity. Pam, you gave a dynamic presentation. Would you tell us anything special that's going on in your NC Works area of Avery, Mitchell, and Yancey County?
No, I didn't prepare for that, Keith.
Okay.
No, we've got some online events scheduled for resume writing and job application completion right now, but that's about all we've got going. The same as Charity, as far as we're still working virtually, doing all the services we can, and by appointment only for those that we can't handle virtually.
Okay, thank you, Pam. Felicia Colbert-Setzer, would you give us an update? She is the Regional Operations Director from Commerce. And so at this time, would you give any updates or any words that you'd like to bring from the state, from Commerce?
Good afternoon. You've already told them that Chet is the acting Assistant Secretary for DWS. I don't know if you told them that we have a new Commerce Secretary. Michelle Sanders is our new secretary, and there's a lot of changes happening in commerce, and we're really excited about the vision that our new secretary has. She has a vision of inclusion. She has taken a perspective of ensuring that employers are number one. So we're excited about that vision. It's a really good thing. We're excited. Also, our former secretary, assistant secretary of DWS, Jess Engel, is going to be the policy director for Governor Cooper. So we're excited about that as well, because we feel like Jess knows what we do in DWS in commerce. She knows about the workforce boards. She knows about all the good things that we're doing out in the community. So we feel very confident that workforce will continue to be one of those leading policy initiatives for the governor. So we're really excited about that as well. But just want to take the opportunity to thank those that are working in those career centers. Even though they're working by appointment only, they're working virtually, but they are truly working. So when people think that we're just simply that we're providing services virtually, that not a lot of things are going on, they are. We are handling a lot of services. You heard the services that Pam talked about. You heard the services that Charity talked about, the things that we're doing. We're reaching out to employers. We're reaching out to clients. We're doing all of the things that we typically would do in the centers. And then we're getting ready to prepare, depending on what happens later, to going back into those centers fully. That's not saying that we have a date for that full operations, but we will be looking at preparing a plan for that. That's the next step. We don't want to be behind the 8 ball. We always want to do things that are proactive and not reactive. So we'll be looking at those type things. The centers will be having leadership meetings with all of the leadership staff, managers of both programs, Title I and Title III, and we'll be looking at what it's going to take for us to be fully operational when it's time for that. I just, on a side note, I had my first vaccine today. I'm excited. As my daughter said, my arm didn't fall off, so it went pretty well. So, I know here we're trying to get people to get vaccinated so that we can get to the place where we're able to open back up. That's not commerce is just like all state agencies are asking people to get vaccinated, but it's not a requirement. But we are asking that. But we're just excited that we have a board that's as active as this board is. And we're excited about the board staff, because anytime we go to the board staff and we work in tandem as a team with the board staff, with Title I, with Title III, with Goodwill, we're all good partners and we want what's best for the community. And so because you come from a perspective of wanting what's best, we are always out, in the community and forward thinking and things like that. So just want to thank you, Keith. Want to thank you, Sherry, for leading Goodwill. Thank you, Keith, for leading the workforce board, Misty and Rebecca, your angels. And I forgot the new angel's name. I haven't met her. I have to meet her, but hey, new angel. I got emails from you. But I just want to thank you all for what you do. And of course, thank my angels, Charity and Anita, because they do some great works. So just want to say thank you. And we're just excited. I think, if COVID has taught us anything, it's taught us that we need to be grateful for what we have and for the people that we have that are on the ground and doing what needs to be done to get the work done. COVID has been a great testimony for us in workforce, in that we went, we changed on a dime to go to virtual services. And we did that without a hitch, actually, because a lot of places are still struggling to go virtual. And we went virtual in the course of 2.5 days. So that's a testament to the people that we have that work for us. And the dedication that they have. But again, thank you. That's my update. You all, I hope that you all have a great weekend, because it's going to be sunny until next week when it starts to rain. So thank you.
Thank you, Felicia. Chairman Jeff Dreyer, that completes my director's report. I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Felicia. Thank you, everyone. Right now, we move along to our chairman's comments or board member announcements. I think I've said everything I wanted to say as for the cause. So keep doing what you're doing. You do make a difference, and it's so important what you do. So thank you for that. Does any board members have anything that they would like to announce?
No announcements, this is Sherry, but I just want to add a thank you to the partners and the teams that are part of this that everybody's mentioned. So thank you on behalf of Goodwill.
Thank you, Sherry. Anyone else? Okay. Now I open it up to a public comment period. Do we have any public comment?
No, we don't have any, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
I did not receive any.
Thank you so much. Make a notation that our next meeting will be Thursday, May 12th or May 13th at 2:30 p.m. It'll be a Zoom meeting as well. I appreciate everyone here. I thank again all the presenters. I thank our special guest, Commissioner Powers from Ashe County. I see Julie Wiggins has joined us for this meeting as well. Thank you for being here, Julie. And thank you to all of you. I hope everybody has a great vacation, and I will echo what Felicia said. Get vaccinated. I've had both. Let's see if we can't do this and get things back to normal. I appreciate you all. Thank you very much. Have a great one. See you next time.
Bye-bye.